This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Driving that success many times is the way you manage your money. We are going to talk about that today. And not just for business people, anybody, in terms of protecting your assets and moving your life forward. And she does that in many different ways. First of all, helping you with your wealth and financial planning, but also moving your life forward on a self-development coaching level. Very different, very different. Going to learn a lot about it today. Marie Selzer, PhD, joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you very much, Steve.
Wonderful to have you here. You are different in that you are helping people manage their money, but also at the same time, there's another side of you where you help people in terms of their life path, help them in terms of discovery, their subconscious, what's going on in their mind, moving their lives forward from being stuck, or having limiting beliefs. We want to get to that in a moment, but looking at the financial side of things, what usually comes up with the people that you work with? And I'm sure you see many in terms of what they're doing. We're not financial planners. I'm financially illiterate. I'm going to say it right now. I am. I know I am. I just do my thing. I hope it all works out. I loathe figuring out money and all of that. It just does. I'm a creative person. It just doesn't do it for me. So I love when we have people like you that come walking through the door. What are you hearing from most people about the common things that they do? I don't want to call them mistakes. Everything's a lesson, but what usually comes up when it comes to finances?
Yes, I think the most important part when you're wrapping your head around money is that it really doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you save. And what you save can grow exponentially when you know how to put it in the proper places to protect yourself and your family and your future. And I think with a lot of Americans, it might be easiest to think of it as just another bill. You have this to pay off your car, you have your car, you have this to pay off your house, you have your house, you have this to pay off your retirement, you have your retirement. And that's a lot of times the missing piece. As our time is changing, the job markets are changing. A lot of jobs used to be, a lot of careers are 2 years here, 2 years there. There's no longer the full time at one company pension happening like it did for my parents. So it's taking ownership of that and making sure you're set up to win.
It's a hard reality to accept, but there's no loyalty in any job. You could be there for 20, 30 years, get the gold watch. Hey, fantastic. And then the next day they could say, well, we made some changes. You have to leave. Maybe you get some severance, whatever it might be. So you need to plan and protect. How do we know how much to save? I'm really clueless on that. What is there a formula? Is there something that we can adhere to?
I think it's a matter of developing a new habit if it's something that's not already happening in your life. And so just do it in a way that allows it to become part of your life on a daily basis. So start small. Do it for 30 days. If you can do it daily for 30 days, maybe you can increase the amount that you're saving for the next 30 days. And as you realize what's comfortable for you to do, and if it means switching habits, say a lot of people maybe go to Starbucks more than they maybe should, and you can get a French press and make your own at home. And what other ways can you make it so that, okay, that money is now going into my savings? And just do it in a way where you'll be fine and the shifts are small enough that they're sustainable.
It's funny when you talk about Starbucks. Yes, paying a premium for coffee, I get that. But when you add it up, if you go every single day, and I get it, I have my convenience store cup of coffee right here, $3.32. I look at it as my little give to me. And I'm not a caffeine fiend. It's not like, I gotta have it. I don't have to have it. It's just here's something for you. Enjoy that warm cup of coffee, start your day, lasts me pretty much all day. I get the extra large. But when you add it up, I think that's the part where we forget about. $5 a day. Do the math on that. You're talking, over $1,000 a year. on
Yes.
average, depending on, what the price of the coffee is, even if, $5, it's a cliche, but oh my gosh, doesn't it add up that, and we don't really see it that way. We just see, well, it's only $5. But
Right.
in the long run, can you imagine, what are you going to do with over $1,000? What could you possibly do with that? Um, Even subscriptions. I think we're in a society of getting hooked on subscriptions because we get hooked into it, and then you forget about them. And then you're paying $10 here and $10 there. And that also adds up. Is there a number that you should be saving, if you can, that we can put towards it? Let's say you make 100 grand a year, whatever. If let's say you take that home after taxes, I'm just pick easy way to figure it out. Is there a percentage that you should consciously plan on saving?
Definitely. It's different for every situation.
Sure.
There's the single person making 100 grand a year who maybe is planning on a simple life and don't enjoy traveling that much. And then there's the one that has a family and children and they love traveling. And so it's really figuring out what your dreams are, what you want your future to look like, and putting a number to that. And then you can crunch them and figure out what it will take to make that happen for yourself.
And I totally get that. Every situation is different, but I
Yeah.
know, I work in the marketing area as well. And, we say there's a certain percentage for best results that you want to put aside for that. Um, is it like 20% of your net, your take home should go to savings? And again, I know everything is different, so that has to be a variable there. But at a baseline, is there even a percentage that, at least you can figure, so you can say to yourself, well, I'm making the attempt, at a
Right.
more positive financial future. Anything that stands
Yes.
out?
I think 20% is a great number to start for saving 20% of your income. I also think it's a really beautiful way is 10% donation, a contribution, that growth and contribution aspect. And the more you allow that money to flow in ways where you're showing yourself, your higher power, the universe, God, that you're providing, the more money will flow to you and through you.
Okay, well, let's look at that for a second. So are you saying that, donating to, a charity that you align with, whatever it might be, church, whatever you're comfortable with?
Mhm.
We're getting a little woo here, just saying. And
Right.
that's okay. Because I hear it all the time that if you share some abundance, more comes back to you. Is that kind of where you're going?
Yes, mindset.
Hmm.
So the basics, there's the scarcity mindset and the abundant mindset, and your subconscious program is running the show. So if, I and my husband will even catch me. I still enjoy the coupon here and there, and it's just like, she's like, no, we shouldn't be using coupons. Why are you tapping into that scarcity? He's like, well, because it's kind of fun. It's kind of a game.
Oh
um,
my gosh, I'm right there with you. It's almost kind of like, oh, I get something in the mail. Believe it or not, a mail, big card came, and we were building a studio 2 nights ago, and it just they slid it under my door. I'm like, all right, you want to get something to eat? And I pick it up. I was like, oh, save $5 on a $20 purchase. I'm like, why not? Like, okay, is that demonstrating scarcity because I needed a coupon? Well, I don't really need it, but it's like I agree with you. It's like kind of, and it's actually one of the reasons why I went with them. Man, I have a coupon. Why DoorDash? Let me just use them. Um, I am going to add here that I had them deliver, and I gave the driver a good tip. And I have to be very honest here. When I saw him, he goes, "Yeah, I just looked here. That really nice tip. Thank you." And you know what he said to me? He said, "Today's my first day on the job. I really appreciate that." I was like, "Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
nice. I
That
love
that, that was a
it.
win." It was a win.
Yeah.
And I could look at it this way. That coupon went to him,
Right. Yep.
essentially, if you look at it that way. But
Yeah.
if you save money like that in coupons, are you throwing to the universe that you're coming from a place of lack and scarcity?
I think in the context where you used it, where it was more just an invitation to do a splurge on a meal, and contributing to the way you shared it. It made you feel more generous in tipping. I think that's a neat little twist.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's
as long as
you
it's not consuming your time and you're tripping over pennies and dimes when you could be saving the
no.
dollars.
No. Hey, listen. I don't do Groupon. I'm just too lazy. I admit it. I don't have time to scroll or whatever. But a friend of mine just said, "Hey, I got a Groupon for that restaurant that we were talking about going to, and it's $100, and I paid only 60 for it. Cool. Why
Yeah.
not?" You're different when it comes to finances because you tap into the psychological aspect of it, and not just nothing wrong with it, not just looking at the numbers. You look at more about what motivates, good or bad. So I want to look at that right now in terms of what holds us back from abundance. You mentioned subconscious, right? I've got a friend who, wonderful person, great connector, brings people together, has her own charity, single mom, doesn't make a lot of money. I'm convinced that she comes from that scarcity mentality. And knowing her life, I believe it came from her mom. And I think it also came from her ex, where she's been programmed to not to think that she can't make more money. And then puts it out there. Oh, I don't have enough to get my Jeep fixed. It's like 10 years old and it needs this and needs that. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think she programs herself or life has conditioned her for it. And final thought on that for a moment, and then I want your feedback. But even the parental thing, what parent hasn't said, "Hey, Marie, what are you doing? That money doesn't grow on trees. We're gonna save your money. What are you doing?" Every parent has said that in every generation. Do you think that that's what's going on with a lot of us and why we're not feeling the abundance that we should be feeling?
Yes, definitely. There can be blocks, and removing those blocks is liberating. Money, if you think about it, is the perceived value of something. And if you perceive your own value, there's, the worthiness challenges, like you are worthy of abundance. And you get to make the choice of being abundant or embracing scarcity. You are the creator of your life. And so if you're ready to create abundance in your life and take ownership of that piece, I think that's a lot of the reason I became a financial planner, because whatever you focus on expands. And the three games in life that if you don't play them, they're going to play you is the health game, the relationship game, and the money game. So
As it go, attention goes, and energy
energy
flows
flows.
where the attention goes.
Yes. And I think a lot of people are maybe scared and have some of the blocks because they just don't understand it as well as they can. They don't teach this to us in school. And by attaining knowledge and realizing how it works and how simple it really actually is, then you can, take a grasp of the compounding effects. And I know debt can be scary, and it's also important for people to realize that having debt isn't a bad thing. Like you want to manage it. There's the snowball debt elimination, make sure the high interest ones are getting tackled first. But the fact that you're tackling debt doesn't mean you shouldn't be investing, because the compounding impacts of investing can be exponentially more than that little bit of debt that you can see the end of the tunnel on.
I'm fascinated by the way you approach this. And again, financial planners, great. We need them. But you look at it through the lens of how we look at it in terms
Right.
of, mentally looking at it. Do you believe that money is just paper? It's a piece of paper. It's more about the energy. Somebody said that to me recently, and I even worked with an energy healer, and she gave me a complimentary session, and she says, "Yeah, and now that we're done, Venmo me $1." I'm like, $1? I'll pay you more. I mean, I appreciate what you did. She goes, "No, this was on me. However, you need to send me $1 so there's an energetic exchange. There needs to be an exchange." And I said, "All right, here you go. Here's $1." Do you believe it works that way?
Yes, I believe that when you're spending money, you can spend it from a space of gratitude and thank it as you're spending it. It definitely leaves a trace, leaves a path. We're all connected, and that perceived value is being appreciated, and it will help it expand.
Hmm. How did you come to this point, Marie, in terms of your journey on the financial side of acing that, and then also the other side of really knowing what's going on within our minds, and also harnessing energy?
Right. I think, well, like many of us, there's that I guess you could call it a midlife crisis, or that phase that really had me do the deep dive in self-development and want the for me it turned out in a skin expression. I think that happens for a lot of people. I had pent up a lot of stuff inside, and I was feeling stuck, and really wanting to take ownership and take charge of my life, and create the dreams that had been inside of me for so long. And I'm I'm 7-8 years into that journey now. The first 5 years, it was getting out of a relationship with a very kind soul that just wasn't a good fit. And I had to let him go, and just focused on myself, because you attract where you're at. I was a half circle running around, attracting other half circles. It was a dysfunctional dynamic. And I was the common denominator in all of those. So it's like, all right, it's time for me to become a full circle. And so 5 years later, and I attracted another whole circle. I've been happily married for a couple years now, and it's amazing. We're put an offer in on our dream property recently, and it's just, my life is changing left and right, and these things that were trapped inside of me for so long are coming true and becoming reality. And
Wow.
so yeah, first in those games, the one I focused on was the relationships. That was the one I really wanted to shift. And part of that also was lowering the importance. Just realizing, like, I wanted it so bad. That was part of the reason it was being repelled from me. Just lowering the importance, living in gratitude of where I was at, and falling in love with myself. Nobody's going to love you more than you love yourself. Like, that's really where it all starts.
It really does. And I know it's a cliche, but it's true. And maybe it takes a journey to figure that out. Did for me, as it did for you. But when you sit with it, nobody's going to love you more, care about you more, know what you need more, take care of you better than you. I don't care who you marry, who you connect with, any of that. It's all good, but it comes back to you. And until you figure that out, and I've also, in terms of, you talk about manifesting, looking for the person, I don't want to say the perfect person. Is anybody perfect? But the one that supports you best. If you put all that focus on it, if they say it's not going to happen, not going to show up, because you're so, what are you doing? You're coming from a place of lack. I really want to meet somebody. When are they going to show up? I get it. Believe me, I get it.
Yeah.
But you come from a place of lack because you're putting so much focus on it. Like you did, lean back, like wonderful example. And then it just shows up. It shows up. Coming from a place of gratitude, it's often been said that when you show gratitude, the universe sees it and says, oh, you like that? Let me give you more of that. I got more of that for you. Do you feel that's a reality?
Definitely. That self-talk is so important, and the ability to sit with yourself and envision, not just visually, but like feel for my visualizations, I would jump in the ocean and feel the water on my skin, and hear the birds singing, and bring as many senses into my dream visualizations as possible, and getting that tangible reality in my mind. And that's really helpful. And realizing that there is a delayed response to the external manifestation of these internal orders, connections. Like, what is it? One of the examples Peter Sage uses is, if you're at a restaurant, you're looking at a menu, you're hungry, but you don't know what to eat, but they're not going to be able to help you very much. If you say, oh, I want this, you pick something from the menu, and you tell the waitress, the waiter, that's what you want, then they can bring you that wonderful meal. So really taking the time and realizing what you want from this menu of the universe. And if it's abundance, go for it. I'd much rather order abundance than scarcity.
Right. Which came first for you? The work of helping people move their lives forward through energy work, realization, self-development, or the finance side of things? Which was there first?
I think the health aspect, health has always come a little more, well, physical health has come more easily to me. I grew up as a gymnast and I teach yoga now, and it's just part of my blood. The cells in my bodies are programmed as an athlete. And so the physical things are really simple and fun to relate to others. And the mental health is the one I really needed to work on. And I didn't really realize that until later, but soon enough to be uplifted now. And I think part of going through that journey is to be able to connect with others who I might be able to help spare parts of what I went through in time for them to skip. Everybody has their own journey, and you need those contrast frames to really appreciate what you have. I think my marriage now, like if I didn't have the contrast frames of the relationships in the past that didn't work out, I wouldn't be as fully aware of how incredible my life is and how amazing his support is. And just it makes the bond that much stronger having the contrast frame.
We just met, but I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I really am. I can detect it. I feel it. I feel your energy. I'm not even kidding. Like I really do. Do you feel that we have a relationship with everything, including money? Somebody actually said, yeah, you want to bring more abundance in, set a place at the table for money. Have it, here it is. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. What can I get you? How we doing today? Right. I'm being facetious, but I'm really not. In what
for sure.
Somebody said, but it's a relationship. You need to have a relationship with money. Do you feel that way?
Definitely. And that's when realizing relationships is one of those non-optional. You either play the game or you get played by it. Even if you want to be single the rest of your life, if you want to live as a hermit on the mountain, you're in a relationship with yourself. And there's, that's going to be there for anyone, anywhere, doing whatever it is they want to do. So yeah, relationships are so important. One of the first steps in my self-development was learning the power of acceptance. And Doreen taught me this. I'm hoping to bring her on as a guest also. The phrase that I accept I'm experiencing blank right now, and that's okay. So whatever it is, to bring that in. And in the beginning phases for me, a lot of the times that was anxiety. I accept I'm experiencing anxiety right now, and that's okay. So you're kind of embracing this resistant feeling with a hug on each end of that phrase. And the first month that I practiced that and I really tuned into what I was experiencing and acknowledged it and brought it to the surface, I cried more in a month than I had my entire life. I finally allowed myself to process events and programming that hadn't served me up until that point and released it. And so it's at the table example you brought. So it's I'm inviting anxiety to come sit down and have tea with me. And anxiety is like, okay, yep. And I'm putting my arm over anxiety's shoulder and welcome. Yeah. How's it going, anxiety? And he's sitting, and it's eventually anxiety realizes like, I don't belong here. And it just kind of dissipates.
Yeah. And anxiety can be your friend. Everybody has anxiety. Look at a professional athlete before a big event, a big game. I got to believe they're anxious to some extent. However, they've got it under control, but that anxiety fuels their performance, because if they just walked out kind of flat, like, man, here I am. All right, let's see what we can do with this. They're probably going to tank. They're not going to do a great job. The power of now is so powerful. And I wrote these while you were talking. I have a bunch of things. I keep notes on everything. These three words, you talk about whatever, you're talking about anxiety, whatever. This is the situation. Here's the three words: up until now. Up until now. Because that opens the door for maybe some change. Up until now. It's amazing when you reframe a lot of this stuff and then change your thinking. Interesting. You're very interesting the way you approach things. Like it's money is important. Yes, we need it to move our lives forward. Is it everything? Some will say yes, many will say no. But you blend both of them very beautifully. And looking forward next time we get a chance to talk. How do we connect with you? If somebody maybe has questions about what we're talking about in terms of the mindset, subconscious or even financial questions, what's the best way to find you?
So yes, to your point, I think money accentuates whoever has it. So I want good people to have more of it. So if you're a good person, then please reach out to me. And believe in yourself. Yeah. Well, I think 99.9% of the population has goodness in their heart. Cards/core wealth strategy is my electronic business card. So yeah, dot.cards/corewalthstrategy.
Dot, then a dot, cards with an S slash core wealth strategy, right?
That's correct.
Beautiful. Marie, thank you for today. So interesting. So interesting, your way of looking at things. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about next time we get together.
Yay, it's a pleasure meeting with you and speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Likewise, we'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.